Well, here we are. It is Friday, May 17th, 2024, and this is the weekly video. We do these every Friday. I talk about things that have been in the auction market and the Asian art world in the last week, things that are coming up here and there, in other news, whatever's going on. We sort of cover it all. Most of you are familiar. By the way, I noticed something the other day. I got a thing from YouTube, and they said that we have a lot of people that watch the weekly videos that never subscribe. So I don't know why, but they're returning viewers but unsubscribed. It was in a statistic. So if you watch every week, subscribe. It helps my algorithm, I guess, and they suggested I make that suggestion to you. So if you want to subscribe, please do. Love to have the company. All right, now a couple of things are going on. One of them, many of you are probably aware, is this fiasco at Christie's. This is their big week for paintings. This is the big May sale week. And a week ago, today, I think it was, well, Thursday night, their website started having problems. Friday, the thing was completely messed up. And over the weekend, it got worse. They pulled it down. And basically, Christie's site isn't there anymore. And I did some digging around. I read there was an article in the New York Times, Art News. A lot of places have covered it. Apparently they got hacked, and they got hacked in a big way, according to the reports I read. And they don't think any user data was compromised. They don't think that happened, but whatever it was really messed up their website. And they decided, kudos to them, maybe not to the consigners, they must have been nervous wrecks, to continue with the sales as planned. And I watched the modernism sale, the post-war sale today, and the prices were very good. They did fine without internet bidders and without a lot of the normal activity they get. The only catalogs they had available online, curiously, were basically flip books. So if you go to the catalog to see the catalog, this is all you got, and it's not interactive. You can't bid through it and so forth. And it was sort of interesting because according to Christie's end of the year report, they said that roughly 70% of their bids in the last year were internet bids. So all those internet bidders were completely wiped out. People who were interested in bidding had to scramble to get phone lines, to leave bids. And they seem to have, I watched some of the sale live, it seems like they had a pretty good audience in the room, which is something you don't see much at the big auction, at any auction house anymore. You don't see big audience attendance. It's all internet. So there we are. But it's an interesting bit. We're keeping track of it, and we're hoping they get the site back online. But I think they're being extremely cautious, very wisely so, to make sure they've got anything that's wrong that might have been done to their site, making sure it's clean and safe and secure. And I read that they have a team of internet security people in there right now going through every corner of their website to make sure it's secure, and I suspect they'll relaunch it within a few days once they get all the whatever bugs are in there, worked out. Excuse my drinking the water. As some of you know, I had bacterial pneumonia, and it's over. I'm off the medicine, but my vocal cords and my breathing is still screwed up. So, and that apparently could take a while. So I have to drink a lot of water. So I'm doing what my doctor told me. All right, now, what's going on in this is also sort of a mystery I'm going to get to toward the end about something that was on eBay and was also on Live Auctioneers at the same time. And there's something going on, and we don't know quite what, but I'll talk about that when we get there. What's coming up? Over on Live Auctioneers, the Oak Ridge sale, I wanted to remind everybody, the Oak Ridge sale is coming up in 2 days. And this is the silk sale, the textile sale. They have other things, but I think the best that they're offering in this round of sales are the silks. They've got some very nice silks. There's a whole day of silks, it looks like. Some nice robes like this, well done, good color, and so forth. So if you're a silk buyer, you want to check it out. They also have some ceramics. They have things like this. This is sort of an interesting thing. And it's funny, in the last week, I had 2 inquiries, not for this piece, but pieces similar to it. These monochromes that they enameled in this color palette during the late Qing and early Republic period. And here's one over at Oak Ridge that's coming up. Sort of a nice looking vase. They have some rather oddball things. I call this an oddball thing because it's not typical. It's atypical, and there it is. But this looks like a 19th century piece. Could even be older than late Qing. It could be sort of mid 19th century. I'm not sure when the enamels got done, but it's 12 inches tall, estimated at $100 to $200. Everything in their sale is estimated at $100 to $200, pretty much. So don't use that as a guidepost. All right, and then this is the Montgomery auction down in Columbia, Maryland. They have a nice little sale coming up in let's see, on May 24th, next week. And there's a bunch of nice things in here. And one of the things that caught my eye was this. This is a nice reticulated turquoise glazed brush pot. Appears to be 18th century. There's the bottom of it. Could be Kangxi period. It's got a very, very reasonable estimate of $200 to $400. It should bring more than that. It should bring $800 to $1,200, but it's a pretty unusual form. They did love turquoise glazes during the Kangxi period. Over the years, I've had a lot of them. I had a giant bottle form vase that I bought in New Hampshire years ago. For the guy thought it was Japanese awaji ware, so he priced it for $100 in his shop, and I immediately bought it and sold it to a dealer in London. But they have this. This is a good-looking little reticulated brush pot. You want to get a condition report because sometimes these pieces are damaged and they're very, very hard to see. But this is a nice-looking pot. All right, and this is the Montgomery sale coming up on May 24th. So you may get onto Live Auctioneers and go and register. These are all also on the global member pages that you can link to if you're a global member subscriber. And a lot of you are, I realize, or a Patreon subscriber. A lot of you are, I realize. You can get there, of course, through those two things over to the global pages, and you'll find this listing for this auction. You'll find this object. And also this very nice. They have some nice Japanese things. One of them is this bowl. This struck me as a dandy bowl. Love these creatures on the end. They almost look like dinosaurs. Beautiful gilt panels on the interior. It looks to be in wonderful condition. And I don't think this is a Meiji period bowl. I think this is a later Edo period bowl. Beautifully done. Good looking foot on there with the artisanal leaf on it. They're often confused as for being Chinese Kangxi period. It's not. And you'll also notice, get back to this in a minute. Oops, we'll go that way. Try that way. There we go. It's got a spur right in the center of the base here. It's sort of hidden behind the leaf. But when you see spur marks and double rings out close to the edge of the foot, 99% of the time it's Japanese. Any rate, this is a nice looking bowl. And it looks like the gilding is in wonderful shape. The underglazed blue is beautifully done. It's a nice looking bowl. Estimated at $300 to $400 or $300 to $500. It is 26 centimeters, so about 10 inches in diameter. Nice piece of porcelain. If you're a Japanese buyer, you want to look at that. That's a good piece of amari. They called it just a large Japanese porcelain bowl. It's amari ware. It's amari, clearly. All right, and they also have this very nice 18th century looking, it is 18th century, not just 18th century looking, early 18th century, possibly late 17th actually, Arita bowl, nice looking one, estimated at $300 to $500, $50 opening bid also, measures about a little over 8 inches in diameter, about 9 inches, good looking porcelain. If you're a Japanese buyer, you want to check that out. There's a whole bunch of sales that were added on to the Live Auctioneers in Europe. The European sales, the Carlo Bonti sale is coming up in a couple of days. There's a lot of stuff going on. So if you haven't checked them in a few days, check them again. I'm going to be going in and cleaning up those pages tomorrow because there's some lots that are closing today, as many of you know, and there were some lots that closed yesterday. We updated Wednesday, but I'll go in there tomorrow and we'll get rid of all the sold stuff. So if you want to see what it sold for, do it tonight before it's too late. All right, and then this is one of the lots that closed. This was Stair Gallery had a sale. I think this was yesterday. Yeah, the 16th. And they sold this bottle. And I had a lot of inquiries about this bottle. Everybody loved this thing. And I think whoever bought it got a really good buy. This is a 17th century blue and white piece. It looked to be in very nice condition. The only thing I was curious about when I responded to everybody who sent it in through the inquiries, the preview assistant, was you want to get a hold of the auction house and ask them if there's any sense of corrosion or wear, odd-looking wear to the glazes, because many of these bottles came up from shipwrecks. and they often have salt degradation. But this one didn't appear to. This didn't appear to have ever been underwater. Now maybe it had, but I didn't see any sign of it. Here's the bottom of it. There's still the hinges of lots of blue in there, and the foot looks nice. I don't see anything indicating it had been underwater, salt damage or anything. And somebody bought this, I think, pretty reasonably. They paid $2,000 plus the premium, and the premium is 28%. So they end up paying about $2,500 for it. Perfectly reasonable. We had talked about it, I think, last week or the week before, and thought that it would bring $2,000 to $3,000, and it landed right in the middle of it. They always do. It's not, it's not rocket science. That's sort of the price. But this was a particularly sweet example. So I hope one of you got this. I really do. I really do. And then over to this. This was something that was in the sale. It was just nice. And I also had a lot of inquiries about this. This little pear-shaped vase in cobalt blue. Nice looking. It had the foot on it and so forth. Was okay, but it had a rather significant break and repair to the bottom. And I had a couple of people ask about this. And I said I thought the estimate was a bit ambitious with a broken foot. And I thought, $700 or so would be okay, but, not much more than that. And ended up selling for $750. Had it not been damaged, it probably would have brought $1,400 or $1,500 because it was pretty good size. It was 15 inches in height. And often people associate these bottles with being 8 or 10 inches in height. This was a particularly big one, but had a very significant break to the foot. I'll show that again. This whole section of the foot had been broken out and very poorly glued back in. If you're going to do your own gluing, don't put too much glue in. This is much too thick. And remember to glue both faces of the broken piece. Don't just put it on one and stick them together. It won't adhere properly. If you every this is a little tip time. Every glue and adhesive out there on their labels pretty much will tell you apply some to both faces. Wait a few seconds for them to start to get a little sticky, then put them together, and you won't need much paper thin coating. This is much too much. This is a couple of millimeters thick of glue, and what you end up with is the edge is not aligning properly because there's too much thickness in here, and it's not allowing the foot to settle down all the way. And down over in here, it's just gapped. They didn't appear to put any glue in, or not much. But at any rate, when you're gluing things together, paper thin coating on both faces, and make sure you know where to align them so they fit absolutely perfectly. All right. And if you don't know how to do it, have a local ceramic restorer just glue it back in for you. They'll probably charge you $30. It's worth it. All right. Anyway, this sold for $750 plus the buyer's premium. And then this was that wonderful punch bowl. I love this thing. I thought it was very nice, probably for the Indian market or the Middle Eastern market. Loved the bands, loved the gilding. 19th century bowl, but it was fairly good size, wasn't it? Wasn't it like let's see, what was this? 13 inches. Yeah, I was going to say 13 or 14 inches. This was a nice bowl. This was at Andrew Jones out in California. They're in California. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But a very attractive bowl. Really, really pretty. Interesting. And it sold for $1,700 plus the buyer's premium of 30%. So it ended up being around $2,300 or so, $2,400. Yeah, where are they? Oh, they're in Los Angeles. Yeah, they have the sales. We've covered them before, and I think they sort of do a pretty good job from what I've seen. All right, now over here, things that sold during the week. This was, I think, a very nice little buy for $1,140. This nice mythical beast, Yuan Dynasty, Yuan to Ming they called it, but it looks Yuan to me. Bronze. This was a nice clean one. I don't see any damage to it. I love the wave pattern at the bottom, as you often see, and the masks are nicely done. It measured about 8 or 9 inches in height, I think. Yeah, 24 centimeters, so about 9 inches tall. And someone picked it up for $1,140 plus premium, so about $1,500, and that's about what they're worth. It was estimated at 8 to 1,200 pounds, and it sold with the buyer's premium. It sold for over that, actually, a little bit over that, or right about at the top of the estimate. Nice looking bronze. I thought that was good. And then this is coming up in a sale at Carlo Bonti's. A nice kendi. I just thought I'd throw that in there. 17th century kendi, estimated 1,000 to 1,500, which is about what 1,000 to 1,500 euros. That's pretty much what they're worth these days. Some of them bring 1,800 or so. $500 starting bid. The sale starts on the 29th. And then this, I wanted to point this out. This was a Lion and Turnbull sale. And some of you remember I pointed out an enameled bowl that was over on eBay this past week. And we're going to get to it in a minute. And I'm going to show you the two side by side. This one did very well. It brought $6,500, $8,000 plus the premium. As I said, these enameled pieces can bring a lot of money. Now this one was done by Huang Quzhi, and he was a well-known Cantonese. He also had a studio or a shop in Shanghai, and he was known for this enamel work, and his pieces bring premium money, even as much or more than Wang Hing, who also did similar work. But this was a very, very nice looking bowl. It measured, how big was this thing? 18 centimeters in diameter, so it was almost 8 inches in diameter, about 7.5 inches wide. Nice looking piece of enameled silver. This was at Lion and Turnbull over in the UK. 8,000 plus premium, so with the premium you're up around $10,500 to $11,000. But not a surprise, not a big surprise. All right, now coming up, well, I'll get to the things that are coming up on eBay, but this is some of the stuff that we talked about last week that was on there. Joni's had a big sale with a whole bunch of stuff up there. And Montgomery has a huge sale on this week. I'm going to get to it in a minute with a lot of Nonya Straits material, a lot of it. So check the newsletter page for that. But Joni's closed up on, what day was this? This was on the 12th. So it would have been on, when was the 12th? Sunday, closed on Sunday, was the robe. And this robe had been hanging around at $11,000 for a couple of weeks. And we thought it would do well at the end. I thought it would bring 15 or 20,000. It went over that. It sold for 25,600. But this was a very nice looking robe. It was in very, very good condition all the way around. Very, very good example. And good photography on this. It really can see it. Nice looking piece of silk. Again, the silk market is very strong. And then the cornerless pronk, a porcelain dish, and this is one of the most famous patterns that he ever did, but a rather meticulous one. And you'll see these plates around, just so you know. They varied. There was variation in quality of these cornerless pronk, for these pronk dishes. And sometimes the honeycomb pattern around the outside is a little sloppy. Sometimes the underglazed blue is a little blurry, and so forth. So the value of these is really in the crispness of the design and the lack of any flaws in the honeycomb pattern, the color, even colors, and all that is as tight and perfect as they can do it. It drives the price. And this one did very well. It brought $1,814. Lesser examples that aren't quite so nice end up selling for $8,000 to $1,200. But this was a very, very nice one. I liked it. It was very attractive. And then over here to this, the brush pot ended up selling for $7,300. And I noticed a couple of people were wondering if they didn't think it might be the real deal, might be authentic or not. Someone thought the chips were added to make it look old. And I looked at this thing very, very carefully, and I think it was absolutely old. And I think that the chips held the value down. Had not had the chips in it, it would have probably doubled that price. But the color of the cobalt, the on-way decoration, all of the elements to me look absolutely fine. I don't know what the, but people get concerned about transitional wares because there are so many copies out there, but they're not with these colors, and the on-way decoration usually isn't very good, and there's a whole bunch of reasons. This one looks fine to me, and the sort of goofy expression of the horse with his head in the trough, with his eyes looking up, very typical of the old pieces. All right, and the new pieces, they don't do it. They forget to do that. Anyway, and then there was this. This was a neat thing. This Japanese koyo, a very nice quality, a Meiji period with butterflies. This was a really fine little bit of Japanese cloisonne. Very, very nice piece, very sweet. And again, Japanese things are soft right now. That's all there is to it. So it sold for just, look at that, $75. That was a very wonderful thing. Edo period, Meiji period rather. Stubbsy Wubsy had this. It was a nice piece of cloisonne. Very, very attractive. and it looked to be in very good condition. That was a good buy. Japanese stuff is such a great buy right now. It's crazy. All right, and then over to this. We talked about this last week because this was a type of a Japanese amari that was made in the late 17th century, but they also copied them in Meissen rather often. And often people will see these and they'll just say, oh, it's a Meissen copy. No, not this one. And when you flip it over, that's how you know, right there, the little H-form spur marks and the way the foot looks, the color of the paste. This is Japanese, all Japanese. And in the end, it did fine, even with a little bit of a repair. It sold for $506. Nice looking plate. And this wasn't terribly big, as I recall, wasn't it? It was like 7 or 8 inches or something, 8 inches in diameter. A little over 8 inches in diameter, 9 inches. So it wasn't one of these big amari pieces. It was, about that big. It was smaller. People often think of amari plates as being those, those huge trash can cover, size things 15 to 20 inches and even bigger. As you recall, there was one up in New Hampshire 2 weeks ago at Devin Moisen's sale. There was 30-something inches in diameter. It was the biggest piece of amari I've seen. All right, so anyway, there we are. And then the fan, the tortoiseshell fan. I'm thrilled the guy sold it, but I'm surprised it made it to the end because eBay has been known to pull these down because it's tortoiseshell. But he called it carved faux tortoiseshell, and that may have saved the listing from being yanked. It wasn't faux anything. This is real tortoiseshell. Beautifully carved, nice export fan. Ended up selling for $1,113. Not a surprise at all. Sometimes they even go for more. So that was nice. And then this was sort of a mystery to me, and I can't understand it. This is a very nice piece of. I'm going to take another look at this because I can't understand why this didn't do better. This is a very unusual pattern, and I think this came from the heraldic Grot family. This looks like it came from a sale that was I think it was in the Netherlands, or part of this service was in the Netherlands a year or two ago. And this is a very attractive pattern, and sort of at a loss as to why this with this very lovely lid. And the lid seems to fit on this platter. It was to keep a piece of meat warm, I guess. Went for just $104 and had only 2 bids. Now, it may be the people looking at this saying, I don't think it's Chinese. That's the only thing I can think of because it has a very European look to it. This is Chinese, and this was a bargain. This was a real bargain. I thought this was a great buy. I've seen this pattern sell before, and the platter alone, these platters alone, if they're over 14 or 15 inches, how big was this platter? Okay, lid cover has professional restoration. Okay, the bowl has some, the platter has some restoration. I don't know where the restoration is, though. Is it significant restoration or minor restoration? Or did the word restoration just scare everybody off? I don't know. But $104, even with a little restoration, is peanuts. I mean, that was a very inexpensive buy. There's another one of the same pattern that closes in a couple of days. I think it's up to $100. We'll see what that one brings. But this is a very attractive and rare thing. And if you don't have unlimited disposable income to spend on Chinese antiques, this is a good thing to buy, even with a restoration. And then there was this, the two transitional period Butsai jars. This one brought $1,605, and its sister, who's actually a little taller than the other one, sold for $390 because this one had a few repairs to it. It had some repairs to it, but it still did very well. And this one did extremely well, $1,605 for a 7-inch Butsai jar. And it's a fairly well-known type. It's not it's not some extreme rarity. It was nicely done and everything, but that's a pretty strong price. That's a very strong price. But Butsai and transitional period pieces, people want them. People definitely want them. And now, this is the mystery of the week. All right, I told everybody there was a mystery here. This is the mystery. This was a box that was at Joni's. Now, and I've been in touch with Joni's about this. This box sold a while ago, several months ago, and it didn't get paid for, so they held on to it and then relisted it. And everybody who sells on eBay has been down that road. It sells and then it'll get paid for, blah, blah, blah. Pain in the neck. All right, this time they put it up again, and here are the photos for it. And it sold for $811 on Sunday. Here's the same exact box that was for sale at Activity Auctions in Dover, Delaware. Sold on the 16th. This auction was listed before that sale at Joni's. And there's no way that they could have sold this, even if the guy that bought it thought he wanted to re-auction it, could get it possibly to here. Now, I don't know who activity auctions are. I looked at their sale. They don't seem to sell particularly high-end stuff. They seem to be sort of a middle and market operation. And this time, it was sold here for $800, which is fine. That's what it's worth. It's not a particularly rare box, but it is one Lee and looks good. And here it is with a $1,200 to $1,800 estimate. And it had only 2 bidders watching it, and it passed. And I contacted this auction house and asked them, what's going on? How is it that you have Joni's pictures online? These are the same pictures that Joni's used. These are lifted right off of eBay. Now, I've seen this before. Some of you may recall there was an auction out in California, I think 2 winters ago, and a viewer contacted me and said, have you seen this auction out in California? It was one of these Chinese mobster-run operations. And all of the pictures on there, about half of them were lifted from a brunk sale that had gone on about 2 weeks to 3 weeks earlier. And I looked at the photos, and I went back to Joni's, and I was just like 4:45 in the afternoon on a Friday. And I was going back. I just had done the weekly video, actually. I just uploaded it. Got this message from somebody, and they said, well, what's the story? I mean, these are all pieces that look like they're from the Bronx sale a week or two ago. These biscuit glazed, kungshi pieces, all that kind of thing. So I went back and forth. I looked at them. I compared the photos very carefully, and they had literally lifted hundreds of items off of eBay. I mean, off of live auctioneers from previous sales, and stuck them in this auction. And I don't know what their end game was. They are also the same people. They were connected to the people that run that other crooked auction house out there called the Dot Dot Gallery. Dot Dot Gallery is basically like a Lauren Gallery. It's all Chinese mobsters from what I can tell. And I checked them out, and the owner of Dot Dot Gallery and the owner of this auction house, which seems to have disappeared now, there was an LLC filing in the state of California that was available online that showed the linkage between Dot Dot and this other crooked auction house and 2 Chinese nationals. They both appeared to be lawyers, from what I remember. One in Northern California, one in Southern California, but somehow working in cahoots together. The whole thing was fishy as all get out. I contacted live auctioneers, and they pulled the sale down within a half an hour. The sale was removed. And that was on a Friday night after 5 o'clock, because I don't think I sent them the message to let them know about the auction until probably 5 or 5 after 5 Eastern time. And they, to their credit, live auctioneers removed that sale, and it never came back. So this is the kind of stuff that goes on sometimes. And in this case, with the Wan Lee box, I have no idea what the end game here is. I have no idea what they're doing, but activity auctions, it gives the appearance of corruption and crooked misdealings. And I asked them about it, and they said they can't discuss it. What was it? I asked them, I'll show you the message. Let's see. I sent them one request, and they never replied. I sent them another one. Why are you listing this box? It was sold to a collector this past week by Joni's House of Treasures in Canada, and according to them, it isn't you. And they finally replied, the item is consigned to us like all items we have in our catalog. We are not allowed to give out consignor details, unfortunately. Let us know if you have any further questions. And then here you have it. Now she's come back again. I haven't seen this one before. They what? Thank you for reaching out to us. We have consigners who list on eBay, so it is highly likely that this lot is cross-listed. What? Please feel free to contact us with any further inquiries. Okay. I contacted Joni's, and they told me it sold to somebody in somewhere else, and it hadn't even been delivered yet. So activity auctions, you're lying. That's all there is to it. You cannot cross-list an auction on eBay and cross-list it on Live Auctioneers. That's not how it works. And activity auctions, they will be adding them to the report card and giving them a double F, and do not ever do business with them, because that whole story stinks. All right, now moving along. What's coming up this week on the newsletter page? Don't forget the newsletter page. It's over here. The weekly page. Some of you know about it. Some of you may not. I don't know how, but you might not. And you can subscribe to it for free. Sign up there. Just give us your email address. You'll be notified as this page gets updated every Friday. And these are all the things that were on there last week. And we're going to go through some of them. The prices overall were pretty good. I mentioned the robe. Oh, no, we've already gone through it. What am I saying? Never mind. I'm tired. It's Friday. I'm going to talk about a few things that will be on there this week. And here are just a couple. I mentioned that Montgomery has Nonya Straits pieces in his sale. And this is the kind of thing he's got. This turquoise ground and yellow dragon bowl. There's a whole bunch of them. They've got some really interesting, if you come in here, this is my own watch list. This is where I put things before I decide what goes on into the newsletter page. There's a lot of stuff in here. But this is all the Straits material here. We'll blow it up a little. There we go. There's a lot of Straits material, a lot of boxes. And some of them have already gotten quite a bit of business. This one has a day to go. It closes on Sunday. It's up to $1,000. The sale closes on Sunday, by the way. This is for Montgomery. It went up after we posted last week, I think, because I didn't remember seeing any of these pieces. Just spotted them this morning. So anyway, it's worth looking into if you like Straits porcelain and you like brightly colored export wares from the mid to late 19th century. There's some nice pieces in here. And what else is on here? This is that silver bowl. This is what I wanted to mention. That sold at Joni's last weekend. This was the one with Wang Hing. And this one sold for $2,225. Wang Hing is very popular, but it doesn't bring quite as much as the other maker. The other maker brought about 6 times as much. But very, very desirable bowl nonetheless. Very, very attractive. Now, other things that are coming up. There's a nice robe closing in a few hours on here. This ends tonight. So if you're watching this video and you're interested in this robe, get right over to the newsletter page and go click on it because it's a good-looking robe. It's a late Qing robe. Nice quality all the way around. And then there's this. This I put in just because I liked it, because everybody knows I like horses on Chinese porcelain. And this is a rather nice one with an underglazed red horse and underglazed with underglazed blue, and then you have a water oxen in the foreground, and so forth. This is sort of a barnyard scene. There is the galloping. This is interesting. It's underglazed red and underglazed blue in the same animal, which is unusual. Often they do them all in one color or the other. It's got a Yongshen mark on it. It's not Yongshen, obviously. It's a late Qing example, but I love the goofy look on the horse's face. And there's another one down below in underglazed blue here, staring up at him as he flies through the air. It's absolutely charming. It has no bids, and it ends tomorrow. And this is a late Qing piece, made probably, late Qing to early Republic, 1890 to 1915 or so. This is a great little bottle. I have no idea why it has no bids. I have no idea. So check this out. It closes Saturday. It'll be on the newsletter page. Here's another Straits piece from Montgomery. He looks like he probably has 50 to 60 lots this week. He's a very, very busy guy. And there's this very nice looking bowl. This is a late 19th, early 20th century bowl. Probably more closer to 1900 to 1920s, but good looking, nice color. And then there's this. This is a nice mid 19th century, if you like brush pots. I put this up not because the ceramic is particularly rare, but it's an unusual form in a brush pot. And here you have the sort of imperial court figure with a soldier with his helmet on, and a child attendant coming up behind him, bringing him something to drink or something, and auspicious bats circling in. and so forth. It's a nice little brush pot. And this closes in 3 days. It closes on Monday, so you have plenty of time. But it's a nice looking brush pot, and it should bring $300 to $500, I would think. But it looks like it's in good condition. I don't see anything wrong with it anywhere. Might be tiny bits of wear, but that's about it. All right. So there we are. That sort of covers the week so far as we finish up. And check online. You may have already seen it. A number of people asked if I would talk a bit about making post-auction offers at auction houses and how to go about it. Sort of what is the the formula for doing it and so forth. How do you go about it? And I went through. I did about a 15 or so minute video on doing that. There is a courtesy method to do it, a way to do it that's sort of understood in the business, and you want to do that, and you can buy some great things post auction if you practice and you get good at it. You can buy some bargains too. So check out that video. I think you'll find it useful. All right, so that's it. I'm continuing my little recovery. We're all caught up finally on all the inquiries from the identification assistant and the so forth. We got buried when I got back. It was fun though. I saw a lot of them. I think we did 500 replies in the last 2 weeks. It was very interesting, and it was good to hear from everybody. So best to everyone. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give us a thumbs up. Join us over on Patreon if you want. We'd love to have your company and help support the channel and what we do. Alrighty. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you next week. I've got several videos I'm working on, and I'm doing an interview, curiously. I was contacted by some company that do interviews that they put podcasts on Spotify and Amazon and Apple TV or something. I guess this woman called me. Apparently they have 5 or 10 million subscribers, and they want to do a quick interview with me. We're going to do it on Monday. I don't know when they're going to post it, but we'll see. I agreed to do it against my better judgment because I don't understand what it is they're doing, but we'll see how it goes. All right. Thanks for watching, and have a great week. Great weekend. All right. Bye-bye. Oh, by the way, Buck is doing great. You can see by the scatter of toys on the ground behind me here. It's like having a toddler in the house again. It's kind of fun. All right. See you all later. All right. Bye-bye.